could get infected. Like all the doctors and soldiers from
We're
earlier, it's
actually going now.
standard procedure to wear PPE to protect against bodily
That's
fluids
pretty
and
cool.
potential transmission vectors. I mean, it could be. You could take those precautions, but it's not proof that it's airborne.
Welcome,
They sneak
welcome,
back over
welcome.
to their home to grab supplies, and the old police
Welcome to the stream.
they still think they can drive out of town. David's spidey senses should have been tingling at the sight of their car. It was booted by the military like
Let's
all
do
the other
this.
cars, which
Welcome, welcome to the
military.
stream.
Why was it
Hold up.
burned?
We're gonna do this real quick. Let's
Exposure to
watch some more video nerd explains real quick. I love this guy. I love this guy. Whatever. We'll just do this one.
Okay. Now.
Bet.
If you were forced to participate in an alien sick game of who lives and who dies, what could you do? In this video on Nerd Explained,
Go stream, dude.
I'll tell you how to beat Circle. Very intimidating name, by the way.
There you go. There you go.
Circle. I'm gonna
Alright,
throw
bet.
us onto one of the red circles and see how we fare.
Here we
don't have
go.
perfect knowledge,
Testing out
we
race
don't know how
stream.
this ends.
Alright, hopefully
We
it's
know
pretty
what the
good.
characters know at the start. Can we beat this situation? Let's find out. For some reason, we wake up before everyone else. Maybe we're just more immune to alien tranquilizers.
Welcome to the stream,
I
boy.
don't know.
You're crazy. I like you. But you're crazy.
All we remember is running from alien ships before we blacked out and were tractor beamed into the ship. We're in a circular room with a bunch of strangers.
Let's do
There
that.
are red circles underneath everyone, arrows pointing to each person, and a black packed dome in the middle of the room. We can't really see the rest of the room because it's too dark. There isn't much to go off of at this point. It's probably best that we just hang out and see what happens. Everyone is still standing, but asleep until a lady wakes up. She's pretty bewildered and tries to step off her red circle. And she gets a nice warning buzzer that would make Dennis Reynolds flinch.
Hear this sound, and then.
Thought we were done with the buzzer.
Oh, only if you repeat an answer. Now,
Even
if
in
you-
this round?
Yes, even in this round. Yep.
She tries to touch another person, and the same thing happens. Another
I don't know what
woman
that
wakes
means.
up,
Alright, here we go.
freaks out, steps off a red circle, and the black thing in the middle of the room shocks her with a red energy beam, dropping her to the floor unconscious. Now, it might be a non-lethal taser,
Those were
but we
race stream's
could
pretty
have
cool,
been
I'm not
the
gonna lie.
lady who was beamed, and there's blood coming out of her eye. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I think that means she's either dead or she coincidentally suffers from hemolacria like the Bond villain in Casino Royale. We're gonna go with her being dead, though. This is weird because the first woman tested these boundaries and wasn't killed. She was warned by the buzzer. The second woman to awake was killed immediately when she stepped off. Why was the first woman spared but not the second? I mean, it's possible that this
Holy
alien
shit.
thing
Whoa.
only allotted the entire group one warning for breaking a rule of touching and moving. A loud buzzer goes off and wakes everyone up. A dude freaks out, starts to run, and gets blasted. I mean, it's pretty clear at this point that we need to keep our hands and feet
Hello,
inside the circle.
this is
at
Morse
all
Mutual
times.
Insurance.
From what we can
Sure.
tell, there are 50 participants with sparse recollection of how and why they are
And
in
you
the
got
circle,
max
other than
everything.
they were running from alien ships, of course. You have all races, ages, classes, disabilities, professions, pregnancy statuses, etc. I'd say it's too random.
You're through to your garage. You,
Everyone here
need me
was
to bring you a
probably
ride?
chosen purposefully
I'll get
because
there as
they
soon
are
as I can.
distinct from others in some way. A beeping countdown sounds off, and the plasma globe in the
get
middle
the
of the
fuck
room
outta here. I think I
kills
see that
another
guy.
person, seemingly at random. There's no way this is random.
Go!
What's the point of it being
Go!
We inevitably realize that our hands are changing what arrow is lit up on the floor, and that closing our hands confirms our selection by evidence of a distinct.
Oh, my
beep
thing's
noise.
working too. Yeah, it is.
These
Okay, bet.
arrows are pointing to other people.
Big bet.
It's some sort of voting mechanism for who gets lasered next. We can only see and control our vote, so we don't know who other people are voting for. After 2 minutes pass, another person is zapped. The person with the most votes.
Yeah, reconnect,
It
boy.
doesn't take a psychologist to realize that this situation will devolve into discrimination, tribalism, and manipulation. It's probably best we just stay quiet. Once people realize
should
that
be
their
working.
vote kills people, anything we say or do will be used against us. People will look for any reason to take us out. Just like
We
with
should
the
be good.
police, it's best we keep our mouths shut and not incriminate ourselves.
Oh, sorry,
This is not
Smokey.
the time or place to go on a political or ideological rant, as we'd probably just piss people off and
Alright.
make enemies. We should also avoid lying unless we have to. It's better to stay quiet than to lie, but if we're pressed, it's better to lie than to admit to something that damns us. If we did commit a crime in the past, and the cop in the room does try to get us targeted to save his own ass, just deny everything. Nobody can prove anything.
She shouldn't have fucked around on me, man.
And stick to lies about opinions that nobody can disprove. If we have an unpopular opinion, just don't voice that shit. As we see in the movie, falsifying a
Grape
marriage
juice swirl.
might sound like a decent idea. I mean, who would want to kill someone in front of their wife or husband? The problem is that it's a giant unmanageable lie. If anyone gets suspicious of us and questions the both of us, we'll easily get found out. Somebody just has to ask, what year did you both meet? And say it at the same time on the count of 3, and we'll most likely answer differently. If we get found out for lying, our chances of being marked for death goes through the roof. Surviving this game is obviously going to be heavily dependent on carefully choosing the words that come out of our mouth, or whether we say anything at all. The group begins choosing who lives and who dies in order to buy them time to figure out what to do. The elderly, 2 minutes a pop. People with perceived low value, or
Shit!
people that are at the last rungs of their life.
The fuck was that?
If you are elderly, look sickly, don't
Fucking
speak
cheater.
common language, have criminal-looking tattoos, your chances of surviving go way down. If you're a child or pregnant, your chances probably go up. We can't exactly control these things, though. This alien energy orb in the middle of the room is killing another person every 2 minutes. At 50 people in the room, that gives us 100 minutes before everyone is dead. Not a lot of time. Maybe if we can understand what's going on, the motivations behind this, a potential goal the aliens might have, we can find a way out of this in time. Other participants try to find out
Oh, I
more
just saw
info
everything,
about
okay.
each other in hopes that they can understand how things are related and why they are chosen. This part of the movie made me want to ram my head through a wall.
Hi, I'm Beth.
You were on the clock. Spit it the fuck out, Beth.
I actually went to college, the English major, University of Virginia. Go Wahoos.
Are you fucking kidding me? Go Wahoos?
Oh, I have a dog. Her name is Clutie, and she's a terrier mix. And I have 2 cats, JJ and Ricky.
People are gonna die based on the time you take and the words you need to be carefully and quickly selecting, and you chose the most valueless mix of sounds to contribute.
Oh.
I'm not entirely sure nobody voted that round. The best thing we can do is to contribute something about our abduction or about the rules of the game. We'd provide value, humanize ourselves, but we won't reveal anything personal that people can use against us. You know, like saying you know another person because you're cheating on your wife with them.
Let's go do the little G cash real quick.
It's just like, why say that? Just keep that to yourself. Keeping quiet only helps us to avoid being aggressively targeted. The opposite is also true, though. If we are quiet and unhelpful, we can be targeted because the group doesn't see that we're providing any contribution or value towards solving the problem. We need to humanize ourselves, or else we'll be easier to kill. If we are tied with somebody else, we're probably going to be less likely to be killed. Seeing the aesthetic of the room, the voting mechanism, it's very reasonable to assume that this is some form of game
No, let me get it.
intelligently designed means of
Gcash.
selection. I
Let's
mean,
go.
why set up a situation like this if we were simply going to exterminate everyone? We can probably rule out the circle as a means of selection based on the randomness and lack of clarity around the rules. If people are killed based on the flip of a coin, or because they happen to be the first person to break an obscure rule that nobody knew, how good can the selection be? I mean, shit, even Jigsaw announced his rules up front. This also means that there is no strategy that needs to rely on merit or morals. If you thought sacrificing yourself was a possible way to win the game by showing that you won't devolve into indignity, It's most likely not.
Where would this
Later
guy
on,
even
this is
be?
somewhat confirmed as we didn't see anyone beam up to heaven to smoke weed with James Franco for sacrificing themselves.
Where? It's probably over here.
We can't really rule out this thing being an experiment, but it would suck as lab rats don't often regain their freedom. The other option is that this is some form of game. Regardless, we need to test the game or experiment to find out what the rules or parameters are. We need to make public suggestions to try new strategies that could help us understand how to beat the game. Again, this is when
There we go.
speaking up can make us valuable and humanize us more. Let's just quickly run through a myriad of potential strategies. What if nobody votes? All the voting lights lit up in a unique way, indicating that everyone successfully didn't vote. Unfortunately, this didn't stop the killings. Someone at random was shocked at the end of the round. What about voting for an empty spot from a previously killed person? Nope, someone at random was killed again. What if everyone votes for themselves? You can't, it just automatically selects the next spot to your left or right. You can, however, step off your red circle to sacrifice yourself, if that's your thing. Doing so will reset the 2-minute countdown until someone is
Where the
to be
fuck is this
lasered
thing?
again. What if everyone votes for the person to the right? Equal votes for everyone, forcing an all-participant tie. Well, we actually don't know what would happen. One guy defected and chose a pregnant woman instead of the person to his right. Another person found it and voted for that guy, forcing a tie
Hell
between
yeah.
the man and the pregnant woman. They revoted and killed the guy who defected, breaking the tie. It's fair to assume that if this strategy
Alright, let's go buy
was
some
successful,
stuff.
they'd all tie. And as we found out, if a tie occurs and is not broken, everyone tied will be killed. It's probably a good thing they didn't try this again. Based on our previous failed strategies and the rules we've discovered, the circle does allow for a scenario where one person can survive. If it comes down to 2 remaining people and one person does not vote while the other does vote, or if one person sacrifices themselves, the next round will consist of only one survivor. And since you cannot vote for yourself and nobody can vote for you, the last person might not be killed.
He's already over there.
So
Somebody's
we
already
can
way
end
over
up
there.
lasered even as the last remaining person, but it's a Pascal's wager type situation where the only reasonable assumption and action to take is the one where we have a possibility of surviving. We can only assume that this is a last man standing
my fucking
type game. At this
teeth and everything
point,
is so
we might
fucking
wanna
fat,
consider
so
if we
dry.
want to win, or if we can live with ourselves if we do win. Most likely, at some point, we'll have to vote out and kill a child. And you thought Monopoly
Oh,
was
wait.
like families and friendships. But as they say, don't hate the player, hate the game. Let's say we want to win and be the sole survivor no matter the cause. In order to do that, the game needs to come down to 2 people at the end that won't tie each other. It's a type of prisoner's dilemma. If both people vote for each other, they both die. If nobody votes, it's a 50-50 that we die, which is still
Way to go, way to go.
preferable. The only way that we can 100% survive is if the other person does not vote.
Way to go, way to go.
We vote for them. But who would not vote? Well, a person that is inclined to sacrifice themselves.
This car is so fucking fast.
Or an elderly or sickly person.
Like, holy shit, I don't know how it's so fucking fast.
They will most likely be voted out early on, so suggesting a voting direction that spares them won't work. What about someone that we can fool into not voting? The circle is similar to a game called So Long Sucker, where the only way to win is by eliminating other players through deceit and betrayal. Like in So Long Sucker, eliminating enemies is not as important as propping up gullible allies that you can betray more easily in the endgame. This is true in the circle as well. In order to fool someone into not voting, that person has to be gullible enough to believe that we will sacrifice ourselves for them, and that they don't need to vote as we'll step off of our circle to be lasered voluntarily. Of course, we aren't going to sacrifice ourselves. As the countdown draws down, we distract them with some emotional last words and fake stepping off of our circle, and then at the last second we cast our vote for them, causing them to be killed off, leaving us as the sole survivor. But who would genuinely believe that we'd sacrifice ourselves for them? Well, it has to be a person that most people would not question sacrificing themselves for, like a pregnant woman or child. I know, it's fucked up,
Anything you need,
but I
boss.
already said that winning this game comes at a cost, and whether you're willing to pay it is up to you. I'm also not saying that pregnant women or children are inherently more gullible. I'm saying that they are gullible because it's normal and generally accepted that people should sacrifice themselves for children or pregnant women in a lifeboat scenario. To put it in perspective, it would be much harder to convince the discount version of Jordan Belfort that you'll sacrifice yourself for him. He has no reason to believe or trust you. Why on earth would someone sacrifice themselves for that person? They are arrogant, but they know it's against the norm for people to sacrifice for them. Hopefully I'm making sense here. They are gullible because it's a cultural norm for people to sacrifice themselves for them.
Just give me the
and
word
they are
and I'll
more
make it
likely to
happen.
falsely trust you based on this. This game is as much about sociopathic charisma as anything. Once the game comes down to us and that other person, we have to
Dude, like
take
my
an
fucking
emotional
thing is
knob
super
from
dry. I
them.
don't know what the
We need
deal
to
is.
distract them by telling an earnest but untrue
Like the tip of my
story
tongue or
about how
something.
we've
Like
lived a lot
under
of
my
life,
tongue.
and that
Eh.
we're okay with her
It's
living so that
dry.
the baby can have a chance at life
It's
too.
dry.
Go get
Maybe
it
a
and bring it
story
to the
about how
warehouse.
we shouldn't be the survivor, as we've killed someone in a drunk driving accident a couple of years ago, and that we're honestly not that great of a person. Like,
This is how I use Grammarly as a learning student. I use Grammarly's AI chat to brainstorm. It gives you
You can
prompts and
use
starting
Grammarly to
ideas
suck
on the
my
like
dick. How
making
about
it come
that,
to Jesus
bitch?
moment, or we're okay with
How about that,
letting
you
go of
stupid
life. Tell her
bitch?
she needs to promise to make the best of things and to make sure her kid gets a great life. Ask her what she's gonna name her kid. Just get her mind off of any need to vote. If it's a kid, do something similar. They have a lot of life to live. We've already lived enough and want to give them a chance. Yada yada. We're essentially reaffirming that they don't need to vote, as we're gonna sacrifice ourselves for them. It also helps that earlier on we set the groundwork for this and earn their trust, which I'll come back to in a bit. This sounds like a nifty plan, but how do we ensure that the game comes down to us and someone else we can fool into not voting? Suggest a voting direction that spares them. Most people would probably agree with us, and nobody can paint us as being selfish and predatory. We also earn trust points.
Oh
with
shit, that
child
guy's gonna come get my
pregnant women.
bounty, I bet.
That will be important once it comes down to them and us, like we talked about earlier.
Where is he? Is he coming by? I need it. I need him.
With this suggestion, it's our best bet at getting the majority to spare them. We absolutely do not want the game to come down to us and sweater vests. He will 100% vote for us and cause a tie, getting us both killed. Hopefully we've effectively swayed enough votes in favor of protecting the child or pregnant woman. There are still a lot of people left though, so how do we ensure that we make it to the final round? There are some important, albeit counterintuitive aspects of this so long sucker that can be applied to the circle.
You stupid ass little bitch.
An effective way to lose. If we are found to have gamed, betrayed anyone, or have a strong potential to influence the direction of the game, we will be targeted as a predator that needs to be eliminated in order to level the playing field. This is why we don't want to assume any leadership positions. Just make light-handed suggestions. Trying to develop a super strategy that plans ahead of everyone's moves and outmaneuvers everyone is hopeless, given the complexity of the game. There are way too many interactions between people with dynamic mindsets and backgrounds. Too much of the game depends on randomness and unknown rules. We simply can't
which one of my
keep the
skills is
possible plays of
required?
everyone. If we
So you
try,
don't want to
we're
get in
likely to
serious
too
trouble.
far.
Okay, leave it with
What
me.
rules us is trying to game everyone else. The next best thing to do is give others enough room to make mistakes.
Oh my.
Or more realistically, enough rope to hang themselves with. People will get aggressive, lash out, prey on others, say stupid things, and discriminate in order to save themselves. All of these things are likely to get the majority to vote for them next. Probably the best way to ensure we make it to the final round is just to stay quiet and reserved. Subtly influencing the group to spare the pregnant woman or child is the most important play.
Holy shit, how the
If
fuck?
participants get whittled down, our leverage goes up. Once it's down to a handful of people, the pregnant woman or child, who hopefully trust us more than the others, will vote in our favor in order to eliminate anyone they think will be selfish. They know they need someone who is willing to let them live, so they need to keep us alive, and will help us vote out anyone else that will be viewed as more selfish.
Look at that little hiccup
This
though in the
gets us
frame
to the
time.
final round with them. So to recap, we've ensured our survival by staying relatively quiet, and we've ensured the survival of another person that thinks we'll sacrifice ourselves for them. And now we can hopefully distract them and deceive them enough to where they don't vote. Once the countdown draws down, we cast a last-minute vote, killing them. And once we get returned to Earth, we will probably want to go see a therapist and get some antidepressant medication. But hey, we won. If you've seen the movie, this is pretty much what Eric does in
You need
order
something,
to win.
huh? One of your
And
rides?
From what I can tell,
Let me know.
it's the only way.
It's on the way.
By no means a surefire way to win. You still have a super low chance of winning despite all of these strategies, and there are just too many dynamic variables and things out of your control. These people had 100 minutes to figure this out after being abducted, drugged, and chaotically forced into a life and death game. If you woke up in a certain I
Sorry.
would die if
Shut up.
placed in the same circumstances. I'm pretty sure I either overthought this or missed something completely. If you woke up in a maze of trapped cubes, what would you do?
Let's
In
go.
this How to Beat video, we'll follow the cube captives, see if we can make better decisions, and ultimately attempt to beat the death maze in cube. If you think you have a better way, let me know in the comments. If you like these How to Beat videos, consider subscribing. Before we start, let me be clear, I'm not good with math, and I'm positive I'm wrong about a lot of the things I talk about, so please correct me in the comments. I know you will. We start out following a man named Alderson, who woke up in a sci-fi looking cube. Imagine just going about your day and then waking up in here. You just know you're not gonna have a good time. This ain't an ordinary room, and nothing about it seems hospitable in the slightest. The first red flag is that he's wearing a prisoner's uniform, but there's no toilet, bed, food, or water. So this is arguably worse than a prison. Hell, even Goreng from the platform got these amenities. The good news is that it's not a straight up execution or he'd already be dead. I guess it could still be an execution and the cube people just want to have a little fun with him first. I mean, that's entirely plausible. However, it's most likely an experiment or gauntlet, in which case the only reasonable thing to do is assume you can win your freedom and become the Cube Warriors version of a Rudy.
Damn, that shit's hard to control, bro. Holy shit.
Open to see what's what, and when he opens the door to the blue room, there's a weird sound. But when he opens the red room, there isn't a sound. And when he opens the orange room, the same weird sound from the blue room plays. What that means, I don't know. Unfortunately, this looks like a trial and error puzzle, and I don't think you get a second chance.
Oh my.
That's the end of this guy's story. I didn't even know what
Fucking
hit him.
dumbass bitch.
This guy, but I think he got off easy. This is
Oh my
really
god, that
a
shit.
trap for such a sophisticated environment. It makes me lean towards this being a game or gauntlet of some sort. They have to have cameras somewhere streaming to a pay-per-view audience. Because why would you waste perfectly good entertainment like this? It's probably an unpopular opinion, but I think they should bring back gladiatorial-type games, upgraded with modern technology and engineering. I'm sorry, but Supermarket Sweep one way to quench your bloodthirst is to check out
If you
Raid
want.
Shadow Legends. You can play on mobile if you're a casual, or desktop if you're a sweat lord. Most of you overestimate your abilities, and will jump into one of the 10 challenging dungeons where these bosses will execute you. You can also choose to march against the Dark Lord in the campaign, but you'll need to squad up with dwarves, orcs, the undead, lizardmen, demon spawn, or any of the 13 factions, 460 champions, who have their own aesthetics, skills, and strengths. You can play with friends or one of the 200,000 active clans to fight the millions of other players from across the world. No rules of engagement, no Geneva Conventions or protocols. The depth of strategies, content, and ways to play is only restricted by your will.
Let's go check this guy
I
out.
often wonder what champions and factions would realistically be the best. I'm leaning on the undead, but nobody thinks of the humans. Right now they seem less badass, but give them time, and the other factions are going to be playing with tanks, jets, and nukes. So what's new? You can craft artifacts directly in the new Artifact Forge. There's an advanced quest system with more rewards, more champions, and the Doom Tower is under development. Links in the description to download the game. And if you're a new player, you'll get 100,000 silver, 50 gems, 1 energy refill, and 1 free champion, the Executioner. Rewards will be located here, but only for the next 30 days. Somewhere else in the cube, we have 2 other survivors, Quentin and Worth. Each person seems to wake up from a drugged state in a different room. The door next to them opens up and Quentin judo throws the woman to the ground. This nice lady's name is Holloway. In the background, there's a loud noise like something large and mechanical is moving outside the room. Another girl, Levin, joins them, as well as a man named Ren. I say the more the merrier, considering somebody has to test out each room for traps. Now would be a good time for everyone to compare notes. Quentin and Ren already had experience with traps before meeting up. It's likely they both have encountered different types of traps, as well as the presence of other non-trapped rooms. It should also be apparent that they're in a maze of cubes that doubles as a minefield, and there should be a safe path around the traps and out of the maze. I initially thought that they might be playing some sort of 3-dimensional Minesweeper game, but there's nothing that indicates the number of trap rooms that they might be surrounded by. Right now, these are the 2 problems that they need to find solutions for: a trap detection method and where an exit would be. It's best to solve the first problem before moving on to the second. Until you can safely navigate the cube, finding an exit path is somewhat moot. Detecting what rooms are trapped is difficult because the traps are invisible until activated by a human presence. The way I see it, there's 2 ways this can go down. Either we're able to reliably physically detect and or cross traps, which is unlikely, or more likely there has to be a trap detection method that we haven't discovered yet. If there's not a way to reliably physically detect traps, it invalidates the player's decisions, which invalidates the cube's purpose as a game. But we already concluded that it's most likely a game, so in this case it means that there has to be another way to detect traps. I'd gather as much information that they can observe, which would amount to: 1. Does anyone have any useful skills or knowledge? 2. Is noise or no noise when opening cube doors correlated with traps? 3. Is the color of the room correlated with traps? 4. Are the room number plates in each cube correlated with traps? 5. The background noise appearing at random intervals. Or 6. Anything else that's not identical room to room. Besides these variables, everything else is identical and can't be used. Then I'd start manually testing all surrounding rooms for traps and assessing for any correlations of the above variables. Like Ren discovered, you can use your food to trigger a lot of traps, enough to find correlations. But I want to be clear, do not use physical trap detection as a final determinant for a cube's safety. Our cube captives also decide to manually detect trap rooms, and with some initial success, they wrongly conclude that physical traps is 100% reliable. While booting a room is fairly effective in detecting many traps, it's almost certainly catastrophically wrong. You only have to be wrong one time. Just ask Alderson. The problem, which they already know, is that there's a variety of traps and a variety of activation triggers. A trap could detect a human based on motion, sound, and pressure, all things a boot would trigger. But traps also can be triggered based on thermals, chemicals, tripwires, and a host of other things like thresholds, time activation, location, specificity, and any combination. For example, a trap could be a spike that gets instantly thrust up through your body, but is only activated if you step on a certain tile of the room with 150 pounds of pressure for a minimum of 10 seconds, and only when a heat signature is present. It would be impossible to test this trap unless you physically walked into the trap.
I know where this thing is.
By the time you knew a trap existed, you were dead. If you have to move into another cube to further test your trap detection method, in addition to booting, I'd also try to test for thermals and chemicals by giving the unknown cube a nice slap from within the corridor. If that works, have one person cross the entire cube at a time while being ready to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Our protagonists choose the logical yet seemingly too obvious strategy of going in a straight line while detouring around trap rooms. That same mechanical background noise starts up again, and Ren remarks that it's occurring in regular intervals. A piece to the puzzle, no doubt. Come to think of it, maybe we're just in a giant shuffling Rubik's Cube and the goal is to solve it. But but there's not a mechanism for shifting cubes, and the shifting is happening at random intervals completely outside their control. So I think that's a no on the root.
You need to go.
Levin and the crew just now discovered that there's serial number plates pointing to each room. How the hell do they miss these? The rooms are practically identical except for like two things. The first number she reads is 566-472-737, which is the room that they're going into. The second number she reads is 476-804-539, which is the room that they came from. It's not. If these were room numbers based on 566,472,737 rooms and at a diameter of 14 feet per room, 1 feet of hatchways on either side, and you're looking at a diameter of 2.5 miles and nearly 16 cubic miles of cubes. The diameter of this monstrosity would be like 12 aircraft carriers lined up end to end. I highly doubt an organization built 1,800 aircraft carriers worth of cubes for 7 people to wander around. While we don't know how big the cube is, it has to be way smaller than they think. Even if they were room numbers, they don't seem to be sequential, so unless they're encoded somehow, they're no use for finding an exit. And even if they were sequential, we still don't know where an exit might be. So far, these numbers are not helping as a trap detection method, or for finding a way out, which is concerning and odd. From the 6 potential variables we've observed, none seem to be correlated with
Let's
solutions.
see here.
The numbers do stand out though, because they could be some type of code. They must be missing something. The numbers have to mean something. It is possible that they just need more information before they can figure out solutions. So heading towards the side and traveling along it while looking for exits would potentially give them the dimensions of the main cube. I'd also leave pieces of ripped clothing as line markers to indicate that they've already been in that cube and that it's not trapped in case they need to backtrack. Like we saw in my As Above, So Below video, these little guys can be the difference between life and death.
Oh my goodness.
Wix gives you the power of AI to build the website you need. With full business functionality and a design tailored just for you. Customize every element of your website and watch your vision come to life.
Hey, bitch, shut the fuck up. Stupid ass bitch.
Suck on it.
This is a pretty interesting quirk. There's probably some
yeah.
benefit to relieving a parched mouth in the face
Not
of
really, though.
dehydration, but I doubt they need that right now, as it's only been a few hours.
Oh, you stupid ass little
And
bitch.
looking clear of traps, he holds the group up anyways. He says that the air is dry in there, and that there may be some sort of molecular sensor-based trap that detects hydrogen sulfide excreted from the skin. I don't know enough about biology to confirm or deny this, but the internet does indicate that humans do produce and excrete this chemical in some manner. We can't prove anything, but it's probably a good idea to avoid rooms that present abnormalities that don't conform to the patterns associated with non-trapped rooms. Ren then reveals that he's a 7-time escapee of French prisons. It might seem like a good idea to follow a prison escape artist's lead, but this is not a prison. If it was a prison, there would not be
find no,
doors, there would be traps on every side.
find
They
a
are
session.
in a 3D maze that must have a path out. They just need to cautiously unravel the game's rules.
No more talking. No more guessing. Don't even think about nothing that's not right in front of you.
Great advice, Houdini. I think we'll stop to think things through if that's chill with you. You got something on your face, by the way. It's now abundantly clear that physically testing traps is not reliable, so trap detection must be based on one of the aforementioned variables, likely the numbering system. Ren should have slapped the interior of the cube first before hopping in. It's pretty dumb for someone who supposedly knows a lot about sensors to not account for thermal sensors. His dodge game definitely was not on point either. Instead of diving out of the way, he just stood there and said merde. The rest of the crew finally does what they should have done a long ass time ago. Share information. We know Quentin is a cop. Ren was an escape artist. We don't know anything about Alderson other than he was one unlucky SOB. But what about the others?
What are you?
I just go to school. I hang out with my friends.
What else?
There is nothing.
How do we buy like more?
Okay, that's not helpful at all. We need specific details.
There's gotta be a reason for that. You're a doctor, Homeland. That gives you a
How do you do warehouses or whatever?
No, it just makes me go, why me and not one of the other 10 million doctors out there?
That's better, but still too vague.
Why don't you tell us what your purpose is worth?
Often wondered that myself.
Can everyone stop being intentionally opaque? Good God, nobody cares about your Edgar Allan Poe bullshit. Just give a straight answer. We're on the clock in a life and death situation here. Quentin uses his X-ray detective skills
Look into someone's head like a fucking X-ray.
on the survivors to discover that Levin is a math student. It really shouldn't have been that hard to figure out, but everyone felt like wasting time being ambiguous for no reason. Levin uses her special math powers to assess the mysterious room numbers and determines that the
Warehouses?
trap rooms
Where the
they've
fuck are
encountered
the
all have
warehouses,
three
dude?
sequences of 3-digit prime numbers. For everyone that ignored everything taught in math class like me, prime numbers are numbers that only have 2 factors, one in themselves. None of these number sequences are prime, so the room is theoretically safe.
So that room is safe.
Wait. How can you make that assumption based on one prime number trap?
Right, but like Quentin is trying to say, that's only 3 data points, which is a low enough sample size to be a coincidence. If half the rooms were traps, they could only be 87.5% confident in this method, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not. This whole time I've been speculating that the numbers mean something, and I think what she's onto is worth testing. But you'll only know if the theory holds up with a high degree of confidence once you've tested at least 10 rooms. But even then, the cost of physically checking a room is low, so you might as well sniff, slap, and boot every room anyways. The montage of them navigating rooms seems pretty convincing that prime numbers are the key to detecting traps. So they seem to have solved the trap detection problem,
Where do you
but
buy,
they
like-
still haven't solved the exit path problem. Since there really isn't anything else they can use to determine an exit path, and the numbers were a form of key to half their problem, it's likely the numbers are also a key to the other half of their problem. It's a good thing Ren got face shotted instead of Levin, because there's no way they would have figured that out by themselves. On that note, they need to keep Levin alive at all costs, because she's probably their only chance of figuring out a way out of here. With the trap detection problem solved, they should continue heading towards the side of the cube so they can map out the potential dimensions of the main cube. Eventually, they hit a dead end with traps on all sides.
Gay.
They're forced to backtrack. By now, they're probably getting claustrophobic, dehydrated, and a little bit delirious. This is where line markers would be nice to have. It would help lower the mental burden of having to do math and double checking each room you may have already been in. Their detour around the dead end is put on pause when they hear some noises coming from the cube above them. Quentin pops the door, and another person falls through. His name is Kazan, and he appears to have some type of mental disorder. On a side note, it's interesting how all of the captives are named and characterized after famous prisons around the world. Kazan has a mental condition of sorts, which relates to the Kazan Prison Mental Hospital in Russia. Quentin is a male, and San Quentin is a prison for males. Likewise, Holloway is a female, and Holloway Prison is female only. Wren was named after the Wren Prison. Levin and Worth, well, Leavenworth. It's also kind of interesting that Levin and Worth are the only ones that share a prison name. I don't think any of this helps them though. The captives continue their straight line path to the side of the cube while checking for prime number based trap rooms. But this time, there's a problem.
Raising that little shit. He's your problem.
Stop! In front of you!
This is exactly why I kept saying to tread carefully. To think that prime number solved everything was foolish, even with it being a pretty successful strategy. Luckily for Quentin, this trap gave him time to dive out of the way. The prime number trap detection theory is far from worthless, because there's